I just sent you a document. So this is an opinion
Now, now
piece.
it's an now. Let me be clear on here. Okay, it's an opinion piece that is not masquerading as an actual piece of journalistic news.
Right,
So let's be clear on that because I hate that. I hate that shit. Whether it's liberal, conservative, it doesn't matter. But
right, right.
let's
Um,
continue.
so the gist of it, again, as an opinion piece that hits on a very important issue within the Democratic Party right now. That applies to both me and you, and I'm sure most, if not all, of our listeners. The debate between Bernie and Hillary, and what the article says, and as a caveat to all of this, I do not agree with the author's point. But anyways, what the article says is basically, eventually, Hillary or Bernie are going to get the nomination. And whenever it comes that time, all of the Hillary supporters need to get on board with Bernie, or all of the Bernie supporters need to get on board with Hillary. We need to be able to come together as a party to have any chance of winning the nomination. So it's basically asking that, when you're talking about one candidate over the other, specifically people who are talking about Bernie over Hillary, not to then demonize Hillary, and to point out all the things that are wrong with her, because the Republicans are going to be happy to do that for us. So we shouldn't just add fuel to the fire. So the point is, support Bernie if you want, but be nice to Hillary because they believe generally the same things. I have a very different opinion on that, but I'm gonna let you give yours first before I dig into mine.
Okay, I think I've echoed my opinion on here a couple of times. Okay, when it comes to politics, you shoot for the moon, but if you can't hit the moon, you hit the hill closest. Okay, that's how politics works. And Bernie's the moon. Way some would say he's unobtainable, unless you're Kennedy. Okay, so go for the moon, shoot for the moon. I want Bernie to be elected, but you also have to be pragmatic and know that you're not going to get everything you want. You may not get to the moon. You may hit a candidate that is the closest thing to it, and that candidate right now is Hillary Clinton. So, of course, I want to vote for Bernie Sanders. Make sure he gets the nomination. In my state, we have a Democratic caucus, so I guess we'll flip a coin for it. But at the same time, if Bernie does not get the nomination, I know that the best chance for me to get the majority of the policies that I want put in place, Hillary's the option. Okay, it's all about pragmatism. She may not change things dramatically, the change that you would expect from Bernie. So I don't think that they do see eye to eye on a lot of things. However, she's going to maintain what has already been established. All the things we got in the Obama administration, health care, all the pieces of the Affordable Care Act as far as not denying pre-existing conditions. The justice system reform that's about to take place. There's all sorts of things that we have gotten so far. All that can be reversed with the Republican candidate. So it makes sense that, again, shoot for the moon. If you can't hit the moon, aim for the hills closest.
I
Yeah.
disagree. I disagree
Okay.
entirely. Um,
Let's hear.
so yes, you are right that for the most part, when you're looking at Hillary and Bernie, they echo each other on the ideas and the policies that they're looking to put in place.
Well, no,
Which,
no, no. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that the policies that Bernie wants to put in place, they don't see eye to eye with. But the policies that are already put into place, she's going to maintain that status quo.
right,
So
right.
while, yeah,
It basically, if we want to see our vision of America continue to move in the direction that it's moving, it has to be Hillary or Bernie. I get that. But to say that, well, we really want Bernie because he wants to do what we really want government to do, which is why he has such a powerful movement behind him right now, and then to then say, well, we didn't get Bernie, so I guess we're okay with Hillary, um, doesn't fully factor in Hillary. If it was another candidate, possibly. But when you're looking at Hillary, you have somebody who, it was leaked by Trey Gowdy or whatever that guy's name was, the representative that said she's going to be indicted by the FBI any day soon. Any day now. I know it's coming. Not a coincidence that it's a couple days before the caucus that I'm saying this, and then there's no indictment. But anyways, that's out there. That's already been seen. But the other things that have really started to erode from her, what we want to see out of this election is less big government. We want to see the corruption fixed, and we want to see these super PACs dissolved. In Hillary, you are electing someone whose supporters will never allow that to happen. She is backed by all the people that we think are evil. She has all of their money. Bernie is the only one that does that. That's why Bernie's the candidate. So if it comes down for me or we can't have Bernie, there is not a snowball's chance in hell that I'm voting for Hillary. Period. Now, when it comes to what policies are going to be overturned, sure, some of the Obama legacy will be upended potentially. I'll tell you right now, the Affordable Care Act will not be on that list. That gets overturned. It's already been challenged 57 times in the Supreme Court, and it's lost. It's 0 and 57. That has nothing to do with Obama. That's the Supreme Court. That's not changing. So yes, some of the stuff in his legacy will get overturned. I'm sure there's going to be some executive orders on day one if a Republican gets in, but the big things like the ACA, that's not going anywhere. Furthermore, I think that we are realistically looking at Marco Rubio. I think he is going to be the Republican nomination. I'm calling it now. I'll put $5 on it. Marco Rubio is going to be the guy because he appeals to the conservatives, the fundamentalists, and the moderates. If it comes down to Hillary and Marco, I will vote for Marco because I think even if he overturns some of the stuff from Obama, he's not going to be able to do as much damage as a Trump or a Cruz would do.
I disagree. Affordable Care Act, Affordable Care Act or Obamacare is going to be one of the first things that's going to go. I'm going to tell you that right now.
But they've been trying for 8 years. It's not going anywhere. They've lost every time.
The reason why they've been trying and failing, initially was because there wasn't enough votes in Congress. Now they have enough votes in Congress, but the president is vetoing it, which they don't have enough votes in Congress to overturn the veto. That's the only reason why the Affordable Care Act is intact. They tried the tactic of going to the Supreme Court to overturn it that way, but the Supreme Court upheld it because of the ability to enact commerce, I think is the loophole that they had in there, or regulate commerce or something along those lines. Affordable Care Act is not invulnerable at this point. All it takes is an ex-president or a Republican Congress with a Republican president to then take them out. The only way you're going to be able to keep Affordable Care Act intact is to have a Democratic president or divided government to then affect that, to keep that veto going. The things that you won't see go is same-sex marriage. You won't see same-sex marriage get overturned because there's not enough pull in the Supreme Court. However, you have Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who's looking old as hell. She's about ready to retire. The next president, if she retires during their presidency, that president gets to appoint a new person to the Supreme Court. And guess who Marco Rubio is going to appoint? A conservative judge. Okay, a conservative justice. We lose the balance in the Supreme Court, which means things like Citizen United going to stay intact. Things like same-sex marriage going to go away. That's what I'm saying. Look at the way that politics are as the way you look at a football game. Okay? Sometimes it's not always about getting to the end zone. Sometimes it's about holding the ground that you already have and then hoping for the end zone on the next play. I'm throwing a lot of analogies out today. It's beautiful. But think about it. All these things, if Marco Rubio becomes president, he could be very dangerous. Because, first of all, he doesn't look crazy. You look at him, you're like, okay, I think he's from Florida, right? His family's immigrants. Yeah. Yet, even though his families are immigrants, he's anti-immigration.
I don't know. I
would rather see Hilary.
That's one of those things where part of the reason that I think I would like Rubio over Hillary is that there are certain policies that Rubio has that I'm calling bullshit on. Because you can't have, like you just pointed out, you cannot be the son of immigrants and be against immigration. Or
Ted Cruz?
some type of immigration reform. Oh, he was what was the phrase Trump used for him? Anchor baby.
His father is Cuban, and his mother was Canadian.
Well, how the fuck is he an American?
Wait, maybe his mother is no. His mother is a U.S. citizen. His father was from Cuba.
And didn't they have the baby on an American
They had the baby in
soil
Canada.
Yeah.
They had a baby in Canada, which became Ted Cruz. And I guess they lived in Canada for a while, but because she is a citizen, an American citizen, he therefore is an American citizen. It's kind of like if you're born in Germany when your parents are serving in the military. But yeah, his father is Cuban.
But...
His father's Cuban. He's an immigrant. Why is he so anti-immigration? It's crazy.
Is Rubio Cuban?
I can't remember if Rubio is Cuban or if he's. I think he's either Cuban or Puerto Rican.
I'm just saying maybe his father was one of those people that were kicked out by the Castro regime, so that he looks back at Cuba and oh fuck Cuba, fuck all the immigrants. Anyways, the point that I'm making is that I don't think what Rubio is saying is what he actually believes. I think he's saying it because he is a long shot right now, and to get the donors and to get the backing he needs to actually have a legitimate chance, he's going to have to echo all this bullshit that everybody else is saying, because that's what the Koch brothers want to hear, or that's what other big-name donor wants to hear. I don't think that if he becomes president, that's the actual policy he's going to put forth.
You know what, man? Here's the thing. Candidates are beholden to their policy in a lot of ways. If your donors are asking you to put this sort of stuff through, they're lobbying for you to do it, they're putting forth the money to do it, specifically for a candidate like Rubio who needs that money, okay, has had financial issues on his own. He's not fronting the bill himself. He has a lot of donors. To his credit, I mean, a lot of these donors, because again, he doesn't seem that crazy. On the other hand, though, the policies that they're going to want him to put forth are potentially crazy. Okay, you're not going to get a second term if you turn on your donors. That's why a lot of presidents are hesitant to do things their first term, because they don't want to lose their second term. But once they get that second term, then it's like, oh, well, out the window, we'll do whatever we want. Drop the mic, Obama. That's the way it works. I think that Rubio, again, what makes him particularly dangerous is he has these policies that are in line with the people like Ted Cruz, not so much Trump, but Ted Cruz, Jeb Bush, those types of conservative candidates, these neocon candidates is what I call them, rather than Tea Party. He has those, but he can say it in such a way that makes it not sound as crazy. You see what I mean? So he's able to make you believe, okay, that makes sense. He's a used car salesman. But the moment you try and drive that car off the lot, it's going to break down on you. At least with Hillary, you know what you're getting. You're not getting the hope and change of Obama, but you're getting a candidate that's going to at least maintain the status quo.
Yeah, maybe.
Keep the ship going. That's my. I wouldn't vote for Rubio, but if you want to vote for Rubio, vote for whoever you want, man. I'm just saying. I mean,
if I'm not really sold on an election that doesn't have Bernie in it, I'm not willing to accept that. I'll cross that bridge when we get there. But there's so much I don't like about Hillary that I don't know that I could vote for her.
At the same time, Hillary is controllable. She is controllable because the policies that are put in place are her party's base. Okay, so if she again wants to get reelected, she's got to maintain that status quo. And then at the same time, the people that went for Bernie are then going to pressure her to go further to the left. That's the direction that'll end up happening. So if she wants to get that second term, you may get some of the policies that you want. I doubt it.
But the argument goes both ways. I mean, you're arguing that Rubio is bad because his donors are going to force him to make laws, even if he doesn't agree with them. But that's with who is in his pocket. The reason we like Bernie is that nobody is in Bernie's pocket like that, but they are in Hillary's. So Hillary's going to be the exact same way. If it's a batshit crazy policy that she doesn't agree with, she wants that second term, she's going to have to do those laws that may be against her platform. It's just, at that point, it really is the lesser of two evils. Who would have thought that we would be talking 8 years after Obama was elected that the next beacon of hope and change was going to be some 80-year-old crusty-ass white guy? I mean...
That's the truth. It is a crusty-ass white guy, but you know what? When it comes to Bernie Sanders, again, I really hope he gets the nomination. And because of the Iowa caucus, he's being taken seriously.
If you like what you see, be sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and our page polypompous.com.